It's Saturday morning, November the 29th, year of our Lord 2025. It is 9 a.m. in the East. You are listening to the Let's Not Do This podcast betting show, Doing Lines. You got the big O, Leon Oliver, sitting alongside one of the unwise men, Scotty Too Hottie. It is Hate Week. It's the best Saturday of the entire year. Brother against brother, mother against husband, father against son, whatever, uncles, sisters, brothers, everyone, the whole family divides itself. There's people that have a certain way of life that's different than your way of life, and it's time to let them know, and it's time to hate that school, and it's my favorite day of the entire year. We had like 5 fights last year, I want to say, in Rivalry Week across the country. Maybe we get some fisticuffs today, maybe some flag planting. I don't know, but I'm here for it. Scotty, are you as jacked up as I am right now?
Yeah, I can't wait to ruin UVA's season. They're a little too confident. This is the most confident, probably the only time they've been confident going into this game. Chris is acting like he's not here, but he's acting like it's just a foregone conclusion that they're going to win. Yeah, I can't wait for hopefully Kyron Drones to get pulled in the first half and then Pop Watson come in and just shatter all those dreams in Charlottesville. Can't wait.
Virginia one win away from a ACC championship game. It would be the second all-time ACC championship game appearance in program history. Of course, I think Clemson is still scoring on them from that 2019 drubbing in Charlotte. But the Hokies who have won, I think, 19 of 20 in that series, stand in their way this evening. We'll get to that game in a little bit. And, of course, I'm a North Carolina State fan. I am not wearing all my red right now. I'm just trying not to get the mojo going, Scotty. I'm gonna go into it a little bit later. I wore my red shoes earlier this week, and we lost in basketball. Did not look good against Seton Hall, so I might hold off on the red shoes today. Like Sidney Lowe used to break out the red suit on the sidelines for basketball, also looking like the Kool-Aid man. So I might hold off on that. We got State Carolina and Chapel Hill a little bit later. We'll get to that too.
Yeah, I actually bet on NC State on that game. So never again.
I thought you meant this afternoon. Okay, yeah, I don't need you to back. No, I don't need you to back the pack. There's always a sign in the end zone, toward the end zone that got Carter Finley on the end of the sideline says Myrtle Beach backs the pack. I don't need you to back the pack, Scotty. You're not good for the cause. We got Ohio State, Michigan. We got the Iron Bowl, Alabama-Auburn, and the stakes a little bit higher now. Ole Miss, we're still waiting on what Lane Kiffin is going to do. There's no white smoke over Vaught Hemingway Stadium right now. Ole Miss is not elected a new football coach. They still have one. We'll see if they still have one by the time this evening's done. But now, if Alabama stubs their toe at Jordan Hare, Ole Miss could find themselves in the SEC championship game. What does that mean for the Lane Kiffin search? We got Oregon and Washington. We got Clemson, South Carolina, Kentucky, and Louisville. It is hate week, and I love it. And, of course, week 13 of the National Football League as well. So we are action-packed. So let's dive into it. Of course, make sure to like and subscribe. Check out this show. Be a friend and tell a friend there. Click that little subscribe button down there in the bottom right-hand corner and get signed up so you don't miss anything. Of course, with this show, and then also Wednesday nights at 7:30, we have our regular Let's Not Do This podcast. We like to talk a little Thursday night football and various fun stories and stuff. We'd like to say it's sitting in a bar with your friends. So why don't you join us and be a friend? All right, Scotty, you ready to make some money today? You ready to get these people home and get some banknotes? Because they spent all their money on Black Friday. It's time to get some back, right?
Yeah, sure. Why not? We could try.
Let's recoup some. These picks brought to you by no one. All right, time for our picks of the week, brought to you by absolutely no one. If you want to sponsor this, that could be your logo in the background here. Beautiful little sports book back there. That could be you. We can pull up a little ad, get some stuff going, have a nice read for you. Let us know. Send an email to info@letsnotdothispodcast.com and help us help you, help us help you. All right, let's get into it. You have Chris's picks since he is in absentia this morning, and we will dive into it. I think we all have this on our cards. Doesn't get much bigger than this one. The game. Say no more. Ohio State, Michigan. 15th ranked Wolverines coming in at 9-2. Buckeyes 11-0. Ohio State laying a 9.5. Total at 43.5. Michigan has taken 4 straight in this series, trying to make it 5. I think they haven't done that since like the early 1910s, teens, or whatever you want to call it. We'll start off here with Chris's pick. What has he got for the Wolverines and the Buckeyes?
He has. This line's kind of all over the place a little bit, but he's taken. There's a 10.5 out there.
Give it to him.
He sent in 9.5, but we won't hold that against him. We'll give him the 10.5 over on FanDuel, juice to our limit minus 120. Yeah, I don't know. I think Ohio State should win. They're the clearly better team, but there's just something about Michigan, and it's at Michigan. So I'm staying away from the side. I'm actually going with the under. There's an under 44 out there I'm going to take. Cold weather, should be a little windy, freezing weather. It's supposed to be like 30, 31 degrees, I think, which means both teams are probably going to have to run the ball a little more. Both of these teams are in the top 3 on defense and yards per rush. And yeah, there's just something about this game because I want to take Ohio State, but for whatever reason, they haven't been able, even when they're the clear favorite. They just keep losing to Michigan for whatever reason. But just give me the under. Ohio State should have some success throwing the ball on Michigan. But again, weird shit happens in his matchup. Just give me that cold weather. Both teams having to run the ball a little bit more against 2 really good run defenses. This game was 13-10 last year. I just don't see them getting over this number. The only way that happens is if Ohio State runs up the score through the air. But I don't really see that happening. Bryce Underwood, only 9 touchdown passes this year. I think it's going to be a rough go for him. Ohio State's going to make things very difficult for him. So, the only way I see this going over is if Ohio State puts up like 30 points themselves, and I don't really see that. So give me the under 44 for this one.
Under 44 for Scotty in this game, and then Chris taking Michigan and getting 10.5 there. Juice to our limit at minus 120. So Chris on Michigan and plus 10.5. Scotty on the under 44 there. All right. I've gone back and forth on this one here. And this morning I woke up and I had a epiphany. We see streaks in these series from time to time. Of course, we saw not the same level of rivalry, but what is it, like 30 years it took Navy to beat Notre Dame. Virginia didn't beat Clemson for the longest time. Frank Howard used to call them the other white meat. Of course, Clemson basketball and their streak losing in Chapel Hill. Eventually, these streaks come to an end. Virginia Tech in football. Ohio State's been the better team from the majority of this 4-game Michigan run, knocking off the Buckeyes. And I honestly think it's a better team this year than that team last year. You saw Ohio State kick it into a different level last year after they had that loss against Michigan. And then what they did to teams on their way to a national championship was just damn right impressive. One of the best college football teams I've ever seen. I think this team potentially is better this year. And I honestly think Ohio State's been fighting with one hand behind their back a little bit for part of the season. That offense has put up points, and you're right. They haven't necessarily buried everyone. They haven't necessarily blown everyone away. I think they've been holding a little something back for this game. They doing what it takes to win, getting through, but they know this is their Super Bowl. And yeah, they have Big Ten championship game coming up. They have college football playoff. They got bigger fish to fry, but this is what they want. And it's personal. Ryan Day's heard the noise. Think about it. They have a national championship, and some people are still pissed because they have this losing streak to Michigan. That's what this game means here. I think this is not a good matchup for Michigan. I don't think they can. They want to get this game into a knockdown, drag-out fight. And if they win this game or if they cover, it's going to be like you said. They have to run the ball. Maybe the weather gets in the way, keep the points down. Michigan wants to take them to the deep water, like our friend Ryan would always say. Take them to the deep water, and they want to make it ugly. They want a bar fight. They're not built to trade blows with Ohio State. And Ohio State likes to jump on you early. If they can get Michigan down early, Michigan doesn't have an offense to come back in this game. We have seen Bryce Underwood look downright abysmal at times trying to throw the ball. The concept of the forward pass has not been the best this year in Ann Arbor at times. We've also seen them give up points to teams that they shouldn't. I mean, they had to squeak out of Wrigley Field with a last-second field goal to knock off Northwestern. Michigan has to stay on schedule, and Ohio State's one of the best teams in the country, offensively and defensively, on third down. Sometimes when these rivalry games end, it's when the streaks come to an end, it's cathartic, and you open up a can. I think the can's going to get opened up this afternoon in Ann Arbor. I think Ohio State's going to roll. Give me the Buckeyes minus that 9.5. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets to 17. I think they're going to exercise some demons on Michigan this afternoon.
Yeah, it should. There's a 9 out there on Fanatics, so we'll give you the 9. Yeah, I mean it should very well happen, but I don't know. I don't know what it is about this matchup. Yeah, I'm staying away from the side. But Ohio State should win by 2 touchdowns, but I don't know.
That's why they play the games, and this is the game. So one of the biggest ones every year, and I love it. All right, moving on. Next one on the card here for Christopher. Noon on ABC. We got Miami, number 12 team in the land, 9-2. In the Steel City, taking on Pitt, number 22 Pitt Panthers, 8-3. Miami laying the 6.5. Total set at 49.5. I think there could be some wintry weather maybe in the mix. I know there was some flurries in Thanksgiving in the Pittsburgh area there. What does he say about this one? 2 old Big East foes scoring off as ACC members.
Yeah, this is at 7 at most places. That's what Chris is taking. That's what I am taking too. Yeah, just fade Miami down the stretch, just like last year. They haven't looked good lately. They've played 2 good teams in the last 2 months, and they lost both of those, SMU and Louisville. Lost both of those games. Everybody's crying about them being behind Notre Dame. But it's like, I kind of get it because they beat them head-to-head. They have the same record, and Notre Dame doesn't have the greatest resume either with who they've played. But if Notre Dame played Miami on a neutral site right now, Notre Dame's probably favored by a touchdown or at least 3 to 4 points. But regardless, Miami just hasn't looked great, especially against good teams. They're 1-2 on the road against the spread this year, and they're 1-3 overall in their last 4 against the spread. So everything tells me this is going to be a close game. And if it is a blowout, it's probably going to be Pitt that wins in a blowout. But yeah, if Miami wins, I think it's going to be a close one where they get kind of lucky at the end. I mean, look at Carson Beck's face on the graphic. He's not the guy you want leading your team morale-wise in a big game, and this is a big game for them. Pitt's been playing well. They're at home. Yeah, give me the better coach and the team that I think is probably playing a little better right now, and Pitt with the 7 points.
Don't hate it. Don't hate it. I stayed away from this one. If I had to get in on a side, I would probably jump in with you guys. But that's the kiss of death, so I'm officially staying away from it. But I don't hate that. I don't hate that. All right, moving on over here to the next one on Chris's card, rounding out his college slate. We got the Iron Bowl, Auburn and Alabama. I have this on my card as well. 7:30 ABC, which once again, I know the SEC and ESPN deal. This just feels like it should be a night game on CBS, but I digress. Tigers coming in 5-6. Of course, this is their Super Bowl, and weird things always happen in Jordan-Hare. You got Ty Simpson in the tie, 9-2 on the year, trying to get to that SEC championship game. Bama laying 4.5. I've seen some movement on that this morning especially the last 24 hours, at least on the ESPN bet. I think it was 6.5. I saw 5.5. Now we're at 4.5. The total at 46.5. What does Chris say here?
Yeah, 4.5 is only on ESPN. It's 5.5, and there's even a 6 out there on Bet Rivers, which is what I am giving Chris. He sent over Auburn plus 5.5. We'll give him that extra half a point on Rivers. This is not on my card. This kind of feels like the Ohio State Michigan game a little bit to me. Better team on the road, should win easily, but there's just something about this matchup. Auburn has played a lot of close games this year. I think they're better than what their record is, and yeah, this is their Super Bowl. Iron Bowl at home. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably end up betting this somehow. I don't know how yet. I hate agreeing with Chris so much. Chris has been on fire lately. I don't know what's going on there. What he's doing, if he's buying picks or he's just something speaking to him.
It's all the nicotine. It's finally like filtering up into his brain, and the nicotine is like hitting some sort of synapses. He's like Rain Man, So I mean, he's got to be good at one thing.
It's turning off that part of his brain that was making his picks to start the season. But yeah, I kind of like the Auburn plus the 5.5 or the 6. But Alabama should win this game again by 2 touchdowns. But this matchup is just always tough. Yeah. So I don't know. I'll either go maybe the over. I don't know. I'll have to dig into this game more. But yeah, Chris is going plus 6. And I don't hate that.
Okay. So one thing I look at here is Alabama's offense against Auburn's defense. Alabama is over like 290 yards a game through the air. And they are getting good, efficient QB play from Todd Simpson, and multiple receivers have over 400 yards receiving this year. You look at Auburn's defense, they give up about 294 yards a game, through the air there. So that tells me Alabama can move the ball a little bit here. Also, Alabama's like top 30 nationally in points per play, yards per play. So they should have a edge if they can stay on schedule and like in standard downs there. When I look at this, I feel like this line and where it's at, what was it, 6.5? I think you said
6. There's a 6 out there. It's 5.5 in most places.
Okay,
there's
5.5,
and then a 4.5.
5.5, 6. I feel like just when you look at all the stats, and I'm not going to run through a million things, but it feels like Bama is 7 to 8 points. It should be the favorite over Auburn here. I feel like Jordan Hare and just some of the chaos whenever Bama goes there is priced into this a little bit, and we know that crowd's going to be electric. We know it's a tough place to play, but right now, especially if I can get an outlier like this on ESPN, and you're giving me Alabama laying 4.5 on the road at Auburn, I'm going to take that every day and twice on Sunday. This is a much better Alabama team than Auburn right now. I think the tide is figuratively and literally going to roll over Auburn in Jordan Hare. I think they're better Auburn teams that have given them hell at home, and I just don't see this Auburn team being able to stay with them from a limiting that Alabama offense. So I don't think Bama embarrasses them, but I think they win this game comfortably.
Is that on your card?
Yeah.
All right. So Bama will give you the 4.5.
I don't know. Maybe I'm walking into a trap, Scotty. It feels too easy. But 4.5 with Bama at this Auburn team, it feels like it's free money.
Yeah, actually, I'm not betting Auburn because I feel like every time I bet against Bama, they come out and blow the team out. So I'll either take that 4.5 if it's still there by the time you get off the show, or I might look at the total.
I saw that this morning. My eyes lit up like Christmas morning. Get me to the window at 4.5. Thank you, ESPN.
Might be a trap.
Could be. And I'm going to walk through an ESPN bet trap one more time before they go the way of the dodo here in just a couple days. So
yeah, see, they have the score popping up on Action Network. So I don't know if that's live yet.
I think it goes live December 1.
That's right.
When you can officially start using that. Yep. So our Canadian friends getting into the U.S. market there. All right. So Chris on Auburn plus, you said 6, and I got Bama minus 5.5 there. So different sides of the Iron Bowl. 4.5. Yes, excuse me. Different sides of the Iron Bowl. So hopefully, unlike those two Alabama fans, those two Bama and Auburn fans that didn't one kill each other over the game a couple years ago. I don't think it'll come to that with me and Chris over this game, but you never know.
Well, Bama wins by 5 and everybody's happy.
Everyone's happy. There we go. Yeah. I'll buy him a pack of smokes. All right, moving on to your card here, Scotty, on the college ranks. We have already done Ohio State and Michigan. We've already you had Bama Auburn, didn't you?
No.
Oh, I think I might have missed a game.
I got one game. I got SMU Cal.
Okay. Where did I miss something along the way? Okay, SMU and Cal coming up here. The Ponies, they can send themselves to Charlotte with a win there by the Bay. SMU number 21 team in the land. By the way, could not find a picture of Kevin Jennings rocking these alternate white Dallas jerseys with their blue helmet. I don't think I've seen SMU wear this combination. That is an offensive lineman trying to give us a modified Heisman pose. But yes, taking on JKS and his California Golden Bears, 6-5 Cal on the year. SMU laying 13.5. The total set at 52.5, 8 o'clock, ESPN.
Yeah, give me Cal at home. SMU's been rolling the last 3 games with wins over Miami, Boston College, and then last week, just that blowout win that I picked on the card against Louisville. It was 38-6, I think.
Yeah.
But Louisville had zero motivation to win that game. So I'm kind of expecting an SMU letdown here. Traveling to Cal. Cal just fired their coach. So there's usually a 1-game bump in that situation. And if there's one thing that Cal has that they're good at, they have a really good secondary. And SMU wants to throw the ball. That's what they do. They throw the ball. That's how they win. So I do think Cal can kind of maybe slow that passing game down. And SMU just needs to win this game. They're not getting in the playoff with the at-large, if that's what they call it, in the college football playoff. They have to win this game and win the ACC title to get in the playoff. That's all they're worried about. I do think they win this game, but I think Cal gives them a scare, and then SMU does enough in the second half to get out of there with the win by maybe a touchdown. Just a tough spot for SMU, I think. Cal is going to be, I don't know about the crowd, but the players are going to be coming out to play after their coach got fired. Usually like to fire under the guys. And Cal they've lost a lot of games that they probably should have won or should have had a chance to win. Some weird shit. Should have beat UVA, but it's neither here nor there. But yeah, give me Cal in their last game here to keep it close. And I think that's too many points with the 13.5. Give me Cal.
I'm going to call him JKS because I am going to butcher that pronunciation of his name, but they have a standout freshman quarterback, and you're already starting to see the speculation, especially with the head coaching change at Cal and the way he's played this year. Miami's going to need a quarterback next year. We've heard his name possibly pop up, Porter related to Miami. We've heard CJ Bailey from NC State as well. So this is an opportunity for him to really cement himself if he's looking at shopping himself right now, like we apparently see Mr. Levitt at Arizona State doing. If he wants to shop himself, this is a chance to do it on the national stage and knock a team out of going to Charlotte and spoil their season. And then, as you mentioned, SMU's got one goal in mind is getting to the ACC championship game and winning the game. That's the only way they can get themselves into the playoff in that situation. I agree with you on this one. I don't know, the travel thing, whenever I see a big number and you're traveling, obviously not as far from Dallas to Berkeley as if you were coming from Miami or Boston or Charlottesville or something, but still, whenever you had to make that trip halfway across the country, and it's kind of an opponent that you might overlook, it's probably going to be a sleepy environment post-Thanksgiving. I don't know Cal's academic schedule because I think they're on quarter system. I imagine a lot of students aren't there though with the Thanksgiving break. I just don't see a big turnout. You got to manufacture your own energy for this game. It's a sleepwalking situation. Cal to cover that 13.5. I really like. I think SMU gets the win, but they probably win by 10 or so in a game that feels uncomfortable, but they do what they need to do to get to Charlotte. I like Cal to cover this, but SMU to win. But I did not put this one on my card.
All right. Yeah, big time rivals here.
Yeah. The ACC, please let us in camp here, and SMU's like, yeah, we're good. We can get in. We don't need your money. We're
why wouldn't Stanford play Cal this week? Why did they play last week?
No idea. Like in the season with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, these California schools, they don't do anything right. All right, last game on my card here, as I've already had Michigan and Ohio State and Alabama-Auburn. I'm going with the Palmetto Bowl, noon on the SEC Network. Cade Klubnik and his Clemson Tigers making the short trip over to Columbia, taking on Lenore Sellers and those South Carolina Gamecocks. A disappointing 4-7 when all the expectations for them going into this season here. South Carolina, though, laying 2.5 at home, and the total set at 45.5 there. Cox rocking those black uniforms, but they're going with the white helmet today with that nice look for South Carolina. Look, when I look at this, Clemson's averaging like 28 points a game, 274 passing yards, like 129 on the ground. You look at South Carolina, they're averaging about 23.5 points a game or so. Defensively, Clemson's given up 21 points a game with opponents averaging about 239. South Carolina's giving up 21 points a game there. But I think the real matchup is going to be that Clemson offense against the South Carolina defense. As we've kind of seen a little bit of a resurgence, some life being breathed into the Tigers down the stretch there. It's been on Cade Klubnik's arm. He's been a much different quarterback than he was at the beginning part of the season. They're averaging like 404 yards a game, 275 passing, 130 rushing. They got a clear edge over that South Carolina defense, which gives up about 340 yards or so. I don't think the Cox want to get in the shootout with Clemson. And when I look at this, I think this is a gift. I think this is a case of wrong team favorite. And when maybe I'm walking into a trap again, but everything on the stat sheet right now says Clemson's offense is better in a game with almost identical scoring defenses. When you go through all the metrics and stuff, Clemson is like a +5 on the scoreboard and like +70 on yards per game over South Carolina, but they're getting points on the road. And I know South Carolina, you look at some of their numbers, they're kind of living fat off of that 51-7 Coastal Carolina blowout. I think that may have inflated some people's senses of South Carolina, and the Coastal's a lot better team than what they were in the earlier part of the season, but they're still Coastal Carolina. South Carolina should handle them in pretty much all seasons, except for if you go back to the Grayson McCall days there with the Chanticleers there. That was a different program at the time then. So, yeah, give me Clemson, not just to cover this, but Clemson to win outright. And it breaks my heart to say this because I side with South Carolina in this rivalry. But, Clemson is a springboard into next year, and maybe Dabo gets more involved in the portal. If he sticks around, we've heard his name pop up in some other places. I can't see him leaving. But recruiting edge and also in the portal gives them something to work forward to build, hopefully right the ship for that program. Give me Clemson to cover, and I like Clemson to win in Columbia this afternoon.
All right. Yeah, there's a bunch of threes out there, so we'll give you Clemson +3. I kind of like the South Carolina -2.5. I think the Clemson probably maybe is the better team, but the fact that I think that line is telling you everything. Clemson probably is the better team, but yeah, when I see the worst team favorite at home, somebody knows something. Maybe a South Carolina 3-point win. You'll get your push.
Should be a lively atmosphere, though. These two teams hate each other. These two schools hate each other. So we've seen the Tiger burn, and we saw the burning of Cocky as well. Literally, you love schools that set each other's mascots on fire, like in effigy. You got to love that. And let's not forget the time that Clemson marched on the South Carolina State Capitol with the ROTC. I think it was like in the 60s over a T-shirt. They were upset that Cocky, the South Carolina mascot, someone that made a T-shirt of him riding the tiger and like whipping him with like a horse riding crop. And the Clemson ROTC was so upset, they literally took their rifles and they marched on the state capitol. Nice. That's how much these schools don't like each other.
So, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. All right, well, that rounds out those games that we have on our card. A couple games we don't have on our card, but we wanted to hit on here. NC State and North Carolina. Tar Heels, 4-7. No bowl for Bill Belichick in this one. State has won, I believe, 4 straight over the Heels. State 6-4 on the year. They're going bowling. North Carolina, one of the goals for Bill Belichick was to win that state championship. Well, you beat Charlotte, but they lost to Wake and they lost to Duke, and Now it's their third straight rivalry game after those L's to Wake and Duke, and now they make the short trip over the hill to Raleigh to take on NC State. State laying 7.5, total set at 49.5, 7:30 tonight, ACC Network. Where are you going on this one? What are your thoughts?
I don't know, man. This game's kind of gross. I'm just looking at the what these teams have been doing lately. NC State just beat Florida State. UNC coming off 2 losses. Give me UNC to cover. I don't know why, because there's a chance that you just come out and don't want to be there. What does Belichick have to play for with a 4-7 team at this point? This is not what he envisioned. I mean, is he really getting up for NC State? Does he care about this rivalry? I don't know. So, kind of just to spite you, I feel like NC State should win easily, but why not? Give me UNC plus 7.5, or maybe the over. Carolina's been scoring. Their defense is getting worse, but their offense is getting a little better. So why not the over?
Okay, go with the over. So this game last year, obviously, Mac Brown, different situation, different coaching staff, but Carolina just did not look dialed into this game last year at all. They haven't actually the last couple of years, really. If there's one thing Dave Doran does well is get these guys up for rivalry games. Dave Doran, he was year 13 in Raleigh or whatever, and you look at the results and they're consistently mediocre to decent. But one thing that they have done well during his tenure is play Carolina well. He does get them up for these rivalry games. It's at Carter Finley. Obviously, the vitriol in this one, State people are going to pack this one. It's going to be loud. It's going to be a raucous atmosphere here. I think the over could be an interesting play, but you look at the defense. Carolina, as they've been playing better down the stretch than they have at the beginning of the year, the defense has led the way for Carolina. They've had some struggles, giving up some explosive plays here and there, but that defense is improving. And you have an NC State team and a quarterback with C.J. Bailey who will turn the ball over. NC State kind of goes as C.J. Bailey goes. We saw the turnover fest against Miami. Obviously, NC State's defense nowhere near on the level of Miami, but it is a quarterback that will sometimes put the ball on the ground, throw an interception that may keep you in the game to hang around a little bit there. But then if you get good C.J. Bailey, it's a guy that can go for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and add, another 30 yards, 40 yards on the ground rushing as well. So it really all depends on what C.J. Bailey does in this one. But I think being at home, at Carter Finley, having that crowd, obviously Hollywood Smothers and Justin Jolie are going to be matchup weapons that NC State's going to use to try to exploit. And I'm just not a Gio Lopez guy. I don't think he's an ACC quarterback. NC State's defense has fared a little bit better down the stretch here. And in ACC play, they have bowed up a little bit. They're playing a little bit of a bend, don't break defense. I think NC State covers, and it might be a backdoor cover, maybe a late field goal to push that lead over, because NC State doesn't blow anyone out. Dave Doran doesn't play that kind of game. He wants to beat you 24-10 or something like that. He doesn't. State never steps on your throat. So if State gets up early, there's a chance Carolina gets back in the game just because of the way NC State plays. They just don't step on your throat. I think State wins. I think State covers, but it's going to be a little bit more close than I would like it. But I like State to cover that 7.5. Is there a 7 out there or anything?
I think there is some 7s. Let's see. Yeah, there's some 7s out there.
Also, I mean, I could really see a situation too where Carolina just rolls over. We've seen them earlier in the year in games just roll over. You're right. What's the motivation factor if you're a Tar Heel player? Because obviously, assuming Bill's coming back for year 2, different guys are coming in. You got to figure they're going to hit the portal harder. You got recruits coming in. I'd imagine there'll be a lot of roster turnover in Chapel Hill in the offseason. What's the buy-in from some of these guys right now? Maybe you want to put one last good game of tape out there, but if things get hairy early, what's the fight back for some of these guys? That's what I do worry about if you're, a Tar Heel fan trying to back that, or a Tar Heel better trying to back that, 7.5.
Yeah.
So, all right, that does it for the Tobacco Road rivalry there. Shall we talk a little National Football League?
No, we're not going to talk about Virginia Tech, UVA.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I thought we already hit that.
Well, I kind of talked about it at the
No,
beginning.
you're good. Yes, Commonwealth Cup, 7 o'clock, ESPN. Number 18, Who's 9-2 on the year. Virginia Tech coming in 3-8. Virginia laying 8.5. I saw this as high as 10.5 at some places earlier this week. Total at 53.5. Virginia wearing those 1995 throwback jerseys that they wore when they beat Florida State earlier this year. Interesting choice by Virginia here, Scotty, because if I remember correctly, they lost the 95 game wearing those uniforms at Scott Stadium to Virginia Tech. That was the infamous Druckenmiller to Holmes game. And then Mike Groh comes out on the ensuing possession and throws the pick six to Antonio Banks. And Virginia trainer Joe Geek sticks his foot out on the sideline there, trying to trip him. And the Tech fans rushed the field from the hill. Not a good time for this young man that was siding with the Who's over the Hokies back then, but I digress. Should be lots of maroon and orange, I would imagine, in Scott Stadium, as always, maybe not as much in past years. I know that you're a Hokie through and through. I imagine you're taking Virginia Tech plus the points here?
Of course, money keeps coming in on Tech. It's down to 7.5 at some places. I don't like that Kyron Drones is starting. Hopefully he gets pulled early after he throws his first interception, and then Pop Watson comes in and pulls off the upset. This will – I can't remember a time where – I don't even know the last time UVA's been favored, much less been favored by this much. I just think UVA is a little overconfident. It's kind of like, oh, yeah, we're just going to win this one, show up and win. Like they don't know the history of Tech beating them. You said 19 out of 20?
I believe it's 19
sounds right.
out of 20.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't shock me. If UVA is going to win, like this is the year. They have to win this one. James Franklin's already springing in like four-star recruits already. And I think UVA is losing a lot this year that I don't know if they're going to be able to replace. So this has to be the year if they're going to win. But I feel like they're a little overconfident. I'm not going to say Tech's going to win the game, but I'm not going to say UVA is going to win either. But I'm taking those 8.5 points. I think this is going to be a very close game. Go Hokies. Ruin their season, please.
Virginia's played a lot of close games this year. You know, they had that 35-31 loss to the Wolfpack in Raleigh there. They got that 3-point win at Louisville and that direct snap play late in the game there when Chandler Morris was getting some medical attention on the sideline. They put the backup quarterback in, direct snap to the running back. They scored a touchdown to win that game. I was in attendance in Charlottesville with the late safety to beat Washington State 22-20. And then, of course, we all know the late game heroics there in Chapel Hill to beat the Heels 17-16. Then they lost at Wake 16-9. Virginia's been a lot of close games. They've been playing with fire. Okay? It kind of reminds me a little bit of that 07 Virginia team that won, I think it was 7 games by 5 points or less, or 5 games by 7 points or less. I think it was 7 games by 5 points or less. But that was a Virginia team that went to the Gator Bowl and lost to Mike Leach's Texas Tech team. This season kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Also, that same team, if I remember correctly, was favored to beat Virginia Tech, and that was the infamous game where the T was spray painted on the V-Saber at midfield, and it was supposed to be an inside job, allegedly. I can tell you it was not. I was in the program then. That was not an inside job. Scotty, one of the worst things in the rivalry game is to hear your opponent celebrating. From the locker room, we saw Mike Elko lash out in his press conference yesterday after A&M lost to Texas, and the door was open, I guess, to the press room, and they could hear the Longhorns celebrating. I've been in the press room at Scott Stadium, which butts up against the visiting locker room, and I've heard the Hokies just going absolute apeshit through the walls there. It's not a good feeling. When you hear that. I've been in the somber Virginia locker room after these losses to Virginia Tech. It gets in your head. And yeah, Chandler Morris, this is his one and only time in this rivalry. You know, Jamari Taylor, the running back, this is his only one and only time. Some of these guys haven't been there before. They don't know. Virginia Tech, 3-8, but we've seen some fight. The guys that have stayed in the program have fought. Philip Montgomery's kind of found himself a little bit. There was a great piece about him as the interim coach and finding joy, finding happiness. I think these guys are kind of rallying around themselves a little bit. And you're right, James Franklin's there. James Franklin's going to be on the sideline pregame. He's going to be in the press box. He's going to be talking to some recruits, I'm sure. Guys want to stick around. He knows he's got Dion talked about when he went to Colorado, bringing his Louis, bringing his luggage. James Franklin's bringing the Louis. So if you're wearing Chicago maroon and burnt orange and you want to stick around, this is an opportunity to make an impression on James Franklin with him there right now. I think Virginia wins this game, but if you're going to give me Virginia Tech plus 8.5 points in Charlottesville in a football game, I'm going to take it every single day of the week. Every single day. I think Virginia wins, and it's going to be another classic Virginia 2025 season, late game heroics or whatever, or late turnover. Virginia does play that bend but don't break defense a little bit. Maybe Drones makes a late turnover if he's in. For your sake, maybe they go to Watson early. I think the offense moves better under him, but I think the Hokies cover this one. I think Virginia wins. But I think the Hokies covered this one. This is their Super Bowl. They would love nothing more than to ruin this for Virginia. Virginia's only had, I think, one 10-win season in school history. And they want to go to the ACC championship game for only the second time in school history. Virginia Tech would love nothing more than to ruin this and build some momentum, springboarding into the momentum they already got going with James Franklin. I don't think they win, but I think the Hokies cover.
Yeah, if you asked my unbiased brain, I would say 27-23 UVA, but I'm biased, so the luck finally turns around on UVA. Tech wins on a late pick six. They win 27-23. How about that? 27-24.
Ooh. One thing I worry about too, we've seen him exit a couple games this year, is just Chandler Morris. I mean, the guy's a gunslinger. I mean, we saw what he did in North Texas. Obviously, that program, puts up numbers, and we see their head coach is going to be off to Oklahoma State. Just seems like they're printing quarterbacks in that system there. But he's coming to Charlottesville. Everyone loves him. He's a team leader right from the get-go. He's picked things up. He's had a great season, but he has left games at times. He does get in there. Virginia Tech can get to you a little bit. Virginia's offensive line early on was protecting the quarterback, but we've seen Morris take some sacks down the stretch here. You got to wonder about it. If they can get to him, if they can force him out of the game, you bring in the Nebraska transfer, was it Kalen, whatever his name is. You never know. I'm not, so I think Virginia Tech hangs around in this one. I don't think they win, but I think they hang around.
Go Hokies. Yeah, they don't win.
What do you think the crowd disposition is? Because a lot of times at Scott Stadium, it's about 60-40 Virginia fans, if that. Sometimes it's 50-50. What do you, with Virginia Tech being down, what do you think the crowd split is?
Well, not just that we're down. It's just that UVA fans, I think, are just finding football this year. So I do think it will be more UVA fans than usual. Yeah, the environment, it started with that Florida State game. Just all of a sudden, UVA fans start showing up because they have a good team. Yeah, they don't have much else to be excited about. So as far as sports goes, I think the basketball team will be decent, but not what they were. So yeah, when do they ever get to have a chance where they actually think that they're going to beat Tech and go to the ACC championship? I think it'll probably be a lot more UVA fans than usual there.
Reminds me, what was it? I think my first Virginia Tech game in person was 2005. I believe that was the 52-14 game. And I was in the Virginia student section, and I think it was about that student section was probably about 30% Hokies. You will not see Hokies on the Hill, though, apparently. Virginia enforcing a strict only students for the Hill this year, because we've seen Virginia Tech fans gather and take over the Hill and rush the field at Scott Stadium several times. So Virginia trying to prevent that by students only on the Hill this evening. I'm sure some enterprising Hokie fans will find their way there. They are engineers after all.
For sure.
All right, moving over to the National Football League. We're on my card, so why don't we just go to my games here? That is not a National Football League game. Let me go back here. There we go. That's not one either.
That's not either.
There we go.
There we go.
I have my numbering system out of order there. Sunday, 4:05 on Fox. The Seattle Seahawks at home laying 11.5. Total is 41.5 as the Minnesota Vikings 4-7 come in, and J.J. McCarthy is in concussion protocol. This might be a good thing for their offense. It can't get much worse than what we've seen with J.J. McCarthy. But Max Brosmer, is it Brosmer or Brosner? I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
Murr.
Yeah. He was an undrafted rookie, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, I never thought he was that good, but Minnesota seems to like him. So I don't know. We'll see.
Undrafted rookie making his first NFL start on the road in arguably one of the best environments in the National Football League. That is a recipe for disaster. Seattle is 8-3 against the spread, 7-1 as a money line favorite, while the Vikings are 4-7 against the spread, coming off a 26-3 loss where the offense mustered 2 field goals. And now you're telling me they're going to go on the road and go to Seattle and try to do something where the Seahawks have held most teams under 20 points this year. A lot of projections have this score 32-14, 31-13, somewhere around there. I think Seattle covers this game, and I think it's easy. I think it's easy. I think this is a gift at 11.5. And I hate big spreads in the NFL. And listen, I'll walk through a trap door. I'll be the first one to tell you. But this one just seems too easy. Give me the Seahawks minus 11.5 at home as they wear those beautiful throwback jerseys.
Yeah, I almost put this on my card. First I was looking at Seattle, then I was looking at the over. Because I do think Seattle will put up some points. Brosmer might give them a couple gifts. But then if it wasn't for J.J. McCarthy being like all-time bad this year, I probably would take that Seattle. But who knows? Brosmer might – I mean, it can't be any worse than McCarthy. So he might give them a little bump, at least for the first game. Undrafted rookie quarterback first start at Seattle sounds like a terrible bet. So I'm not taking Minnesota, but I might stay off Seattle. If I had to pick a side, it would be Seattle, of course. But I do think maybe O'Connell has a game plan to maybe get them a couple of drives where they go down the field and score. And that might be enough to get the over there by itself. So, yeah, I kind of like that over 41.5. I'll probably end up betting that. Or maybe Brosmer passing yards. I don't know what that line is, but it's probably going to be kind of low. So I feel like he might go over his passing yards. If not for just a game plan, then Seattle being up and him having to pass all game. But yeah, I think O'Connell will have something cooked up for at least the first half. We'll see what happens after that. But yeah, Seattle should cover. But yeah, I'll just take the over. Not on my card.
Okay. Look, Mike McDonald, of course, before he took the Seattle job, where was he? He was defensive coordinator in Baltimore. Obviously, he's involved with that Seattle defense a little bit. I think was the guy. He's a British guy originally. Dirty, or whatever his name is the defensive coordinator there in Seattle. Obviously, I'm sure he's going to be involved a little bit. You give me a rookie quarterback on the road in one of the most hostile environments in the National Football League, going against a Mike McDonald, at least influenced defense. Yeah, I'll take it all day long. And by the way, they have a guy that can break plays offensively, Jackson Smith and Jigba. So yeah, he's putting up just ridiculous numbers. One of the all-time seasons that we've seen from a rookie wide receiver. Yeah, give me Seattle.
Yeah. The only thing that scares me is usually like this line is probably a little inflated because of Brosmer starting, but just the fact that JJ's been so bad, like they might be better off with Brosmer, even if he is undrafted and it's its first game. So yeah, I don't know. Scared of the side.
Can't get much worse than what it has been under JJ. So, all right, moving on down the line here. Sunday night football, just outside of our nation's capital. Bo Nix and the Broncos come in 9-2, taking on the 3-8 Washington Commanders. No Jaden Daniels, Marcus Mariota getting the start, but Terry McLaurin apparently coming back in for the burgundy and gold as they wear their Super Bowl era uniforms, as they call it. 8:20 on NBC and Peacock. Denver laying the 5.5, total set at 42.5. Look, Broncos, they're 9-2 straight up. Obviously, they're 6-1 as a straight up favorite. Washington is 3-8 against the spread. They're winless in multiple big underdog spots, and this isn't that big of a spot. I don't know. Maybe I'm walking into a lot of traps this week, Scotty. But when I look at Denver going to this Washington team, especially without Jaden Daniels, and I see Denver only laying 5.5, and I see the level that Bronco defense has been playing all year, I don't know. I feel like this is a gift from the betting gods. I know you're a Commanders fan, but I don't have a lot of analysis on this one. I looked at that and I literally started salivating. It was like a dog looking at the sausage. Like there was literally like just drool coming from my mouth as I was hammering that and taking it to the window. Give me Bo Nix. Give me the Broncos. Give me that defense. Denver laying the 5.5. Easy. I think they win this game by 10 points at least over the Commanders.
So many jokes to be made, and I'm not going to make there. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. But I feel like every game the last month or two, we've been saying, "Oh, Denver's been getting lucky. They're not going to cover this one. Their luck factor is going to regress here. They're not going to cover. They're going to lose. Blah blah blah." Things just keep happening for them late in games for them to win and cover. And now it's like I'm sure everybody's Denver's way better. They're just going to come in here and roll. It feels like a sleepy spot. I'm not going to say my Commanders are going to win, but I feel like this might be a close game, and then Denver pulls something out late. So I don't know. I kind of like us getting the 5.5. I think I might end up getting some 6s out there, maybe. But yeah, give me the Commanders. I don't know if I'm going to bet it yet. I might look at I don't like the total either. Yeah, give me the Commanders, whatever it ends up being.
Have you ordered your Frankie Louvu Super Bowl era jersey, or have you placed an order on Black Friday for a Marcus Mariota one?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever buy another jersey. Just bad luck every time I buy one.
All right. By the way, how is this game on NBC? I don't know what the flex rules are. Albeit I haven't looked into that. Is this not a spot where they can start flexing games yet? Because this seems like a game that should have been flexed. Before the season started, you think, oh, Denver, Washington, Sunday Night Football, phenomenal. But obviously, with Washington, with the injuries and just everything, it's a lost year for Washington.
Maybe Thanksgiving weekend kind of makes it hard on people to just switch their times. I don't know.
Yeah,
you would think it would get swapped out.
Everyone usually takes over FedEx Field. I don't know how many Bronco fans. I mean, everyone is from somewhere else in DC. I don't know how many Denver residents, Colorado fan area people are in the DC metropolitan area, but I'm sure they all will be taking the blue line, I think, that runs out there. I forget. It's been so long since I've gone to FedEx Field. I hope to never go to FedEx Field again. It's the worst stadium I've ever been to. But I digress. Moving on down the line here, my last one. Monday Night Football. Jackson Dart is back for the New York Football Giants. Giants 2-10, taking on the 10-2 New England Patriots. 8:15 on ESPN. New England laying the 7.5. Total set at 46.5. I think you had this one on your card too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, Jackson Dart is back. Listen, I love the kid. I love the way he plays. I am buying on the Giants, and I'm on long on the Giants on this one. I think this team, you give them 2, 3, 4, 5 years, is going to be great. I said it earlier this season on the show. Within 5 years, Jackson Dart, in my opinion, is going to be a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League in the next 5 years. They just got to get to that point. They got a lot of help. They got to find a head coach, maybe a new GM. They got to upgrade the offensive line some. They got to do a lot of stuff on defense. But when you get Scatterbo back next year, you get Neighbors back next year, you have Dart, you can build around that. And and they're all young and they're under contract. That is something that's deadly right now. But they only got one of those triplets right now, and that's Jackson Dart. I know Jameis had that offense moving a little bit there, but this New England team is a wagon. The way they're playing right now, they've won 9 straight. They're chasing their 10th. The Giants have lost 12 straight on the road. They got a 1-5 record in 1-score games. And think about that. Some of the leads that the Giants have blown this year, some of the leads that they've blown, we could be having a whole different conversation. The head coach that got fired, his name just went out of my brain. Dable. Dable could still be employed. We could be talking about Dable's coach of the year or something like that. If you flip those around and they went 5-1 in that spot. And imagine if Neighbors doesn't go down because they're awful turf, or that freakish injury with Scatterbo. It's just, but that's why they play the games. I don't think this is a bad New York team, and I think they got something to build on. But just right now, you give me this New England team laying that 7 points against this Giants team, I'll take it all day. All day. And those beautiful Patriot uniforms, give me New England to cover that 7.
All right. Yeah, I'm on this one. I'm on the other side, actually. There's some 7.5s out there, so I'm going to take that hook. And give me the Giants. Jackson Dart, like you said, is back. Patriots have been doing just enough to win. Recently, they only beat the Bengals last week by 6, a Joe Burrow-less Bengals team. Only won that game by 6 points. This feels like maybe a sleepy game for them. And the backdoor is going to be there too, because Jackson Dart's not going to stop playing. You mentioned all the leads that they're blowing, but Dable's gone. So I don't know if that's going to keep happening. I'm not saying they're going to get a big lead in this game either, but I can see the Giants doing just enough to cover. And like I said, maybe the Patriots holiday weekend, a game they should win easily. Just coming in kind of sleepwalking, doing just enough to win. Looking ahead to Buffalo next week. So yeah, 10-2. Patriots have been very good, but they're not a 10-2 team. They might be the best team in that division, but they're not some knockout Super Bowl favorite football team here. So yeah, give me the Giants, maybe to give them a little scare in the cover, these 7.5 points.
You say you feel the back door is open on this one.
Yeah, it could be a 14-point game there at the end, and Jackson Dart runs one in before he gets his next concussion to cut it to 7.
Let's knock on wood. We want a healthy Jackson Dart. I like the kid.
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin
Patriots win, but closer than people think.
Lane Kiffin taking advisement from Nick Saban and Pete Carroll. He said he was going to make phone calls to about his decision whether it be Ole Miss or LSU. Maybe he calls Jackson Dart. Maybe he gets some young guy wisdom in there too. Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, moving on over to Chris's card here for the NFL. His Cleveland Browns, Shador, getting the start at home, 1 o'clock on CBS, America's most watched network, the network of stars. CBS 3-8. CBS Cleveland 3-8 on the year. San Francisco 8-4. Niners laying the 4.5 as they head to the Mistake by the Lake. Total set at a disgusting 35.5 here in Cleveland. What says Chris? Is he backing his Brownies?
Of course he is. He gave us Browns plus 4.5, but there's a 5 over at Fanatics, so we're going to give him the plus 5. He's in love with the Browns, so I guess he's just going to blindly bet them every week, and they have been really good against the spread. I don't think they've dropped a line against the spread at home this year either, if I'm not mistaken. I was going to put San Francisco on my card. Only reason I'm not is because of the weather. It's going to be disgusting, cold, windy, and that run game for Cleveland and that run defense for Cleveland is pretty damn good. But I still might bet San Francisco. Might bet the over. I don't know. I can see this. This might be just a 2 or 3 pick game for Shador. Usually you fade a rookie on their first start, but last week he played the Raiders, so I don't count that. So this is his first start to me playing a real team. So I think things could get ugly, but with the weather, it might just be the heavy run game, which I think kind of favors the Browns here. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with this one. Maybe that San Francisco minus 4.5. Cleveland, Shador finally gets his welcome to the NFL moment. But yeah, the weather is scaring me, so I don't know exactly what I'm going to do on this one. But Chris taking his Brownies plus the 5.
I don't hate that, and this is not on my card, but I'm going to see how this line moves a little bit and see when the money comes in late. I like 5. If I can get 5.5, I'll take that all day. So we'll see what happens tomorrow if I get to the window, if that goes that way.
I don't think it's getting there.
You don't think so? That's what I'm holding out on.
Yeah.
But Yeah. Listen, Shador getting the start here, and you got, Brock Purdy Monday night, he just looked abysmal. I'm like, thank God we paid Brock Purdy, right? 49er fans. That
Yeah.
offense it's been humming a little bit differently under Mac Jones. And if I really got to pose the question, if Brock Purdy stinks it up again in another multi-interception game, you got to have the conversation of, do we make a switch here? Because that offense was humming under Mac Jones. It seems like they had a rhythm going there. I know you got all the money invested in Brock Purdy. He was your guy, but I mean, yeah, and then you're playing this Cleveland defense, which is one of the stingiest in the league. And you mentioned the weather coming into play there. I mentioned it earlier. Ryan used to always say, take them to the deep water, where this is the situation where Cleveland wants to win that ugly bar fight and take them to the deep water in bad weather conditions and run the football, ground and pound, play good defense, make a turnover. This is a spot where the Browns could cover. I like the 5. We'll see where the line goes. If I can get any points, if any books have any outliers on that tomorrow. But I don't hate Chris's thoughts on that. I actually don't hate the Browns as a outright winner on this. That was almost my underdog for this week, actually.
All right.
Moving on down the line here. This is gross. You should go to jail for putting this on your card. Tyrod, don't call me Tyrod Taylor, and the New York Football Jets, 2-9 at home in the Meadowlands there, MetLife Stadium, taking on Kirk Cousins and the Falcons, 4-7, 1:00 on Fox. Atlanta laying 2.5. The total also set at a disgusting 39.5. What says Chris? You had this game too, I believe.
I do have this one. Me and Chris are on the same side. I'm just double checking the line. Yeah. Chris is going the Jets plus 2.5, and so am I. Public is on the Falcons, but the line is not moving off 2.5. You would think it would go to 3, but it's not. So that tells you something. Vegas likes the Jets. They want you to bet the Falcons. So yeah, give me the Jets. Falcons 1-4 against the spread as a favorite this year. They've only been a road favorite one time this year at Carolina. They lost 30-0. And now you have Kirk Cousins back, who hasn't looked great. He's done. So yeah, I think he might retire after this year because he's not that guy anymore. Not that he ever was that guy, but he's even less that guy now. Yeah, Atlanta hasn't been that good all year. Give me Tyrod at home. I'm sure it's going to be cold and maybe windy there too. Yeah, give me the Jets. Jets are going to win this one. I was going to make this my underdog pick too, but I didn't want to double dip. But yeah, give me the Jets at home against a disappointing Atlanta team and an old man Kirk Cousins.
This game is just so gross. But I have a rule, Scotty, and I don't have the stats to back up my rule. But if there's an NFL game with the total under 40, I tend to bet the over on that one because 2 National Football League teams that take the field should be able to amass 40 points total. It's just a thought that I have. But this game is absolutely gross, and it may test my logic on that. But out of spite or sheer stupidity, I'm going to bet the over on this one. But yeah, this game is gross. I'm not going to pay any attention to this game tomorrow, other than whatever red zone flips do. And there probably won't be a lot of red zone. No. I'm hoping for some short field turnovers to get that over.
Yeah, no Drake London either. So who's he going to? I know he likes Mooney, but it's probably just going to be him getting all the targets.
Just disgusting. How cheap are tickets right now? Let me take a look. On ESPN.com, they link to Vivid Seats. Okay, they're actually more expensive than what I thought. On Vivid Seats right now, the cheapest one in the upper levels at MetLife Stadium is $33. I thought we might be down in less than $20 territory, but all right. Gross. All right, moving on. I wonder if the Jets have these tickets at Costco. You know how some teams sell a 4-pack of tickets in college at Costco? If you go to a Long Island Costco, I wonder, can you get a 4-pack of Jets tickets for $100?
Probably.
Right. Moving on down the line here, Chris's last one on the NFL card. Another he loves disgusting games. He loves it. Tua and the Dolphins, 4-7 at home, taking on Tyler Shaw and the Saints, 2-9. New Orleans is Miami laying 5.5, 41.5 is the total. 1 o'clock Sunday on Fox.
Yeah, he is going with Miami minus the 5.5. Let me see if there's a better number out there. Yeah, I think he's just blind betting for the Browns and against the Saints this year. Yeah, it's 5.5 everywhere. I have really nothing on this game. I know Miami's been playing better, but this kind of feels like a game where they come in thinking there's somebody now against one of the worst teams in the league, and they can end up losing this one. I'm not going to say the Saints are going to win, but I don't know. I feel like they're going to cover this one. But I'll probably look at either a player prop or maybe the over on this. But yeah, this game is gross. Yeah, he's going Dolphins minus 5.5.
Yeah, I might take a peek around there. The rookie running back from Kansas, Devin Neal, getting the start. Alvin Kamara out with a knee injury there. Maybe something with his rushing total. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm staying far away from this. A game that I honestly forgot existed until I was putting his card together. I was like, oh yeah, who's the Saints playing this week? I know two people in my life that are somehow New Orleans Saints fans, and they are so checked out. They just do not care. It's
Maybe I'll look
bad
at
times.
a Devin Neal prop then if he's starting.
Yeah, no Alvin Kamara, so make a bad team worse. Of course, Kamara has a lot of miles on them too. So, all right, we've moving on over to your card. We've already did the Falcons and the Jets. Next up on your card here, you got one game left.
Got one more game left. Yeah,
done the Patriots and the Giants. So your last one here is Buffalo in the Steel City, taking on Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. We saw Mike Tomlin say Aaron Rodgers is good to go there with that wrist injury. Buffalo missing their two starting tackles on the offensive line. Of course, coming off that disappointing loss last week for them. Buffalo 7-4, Pittsburgh 6-5. Bills Mafia laying 3 points there, and the total set at 45.5, 425 on CBS, America's most watched network. What say you?
Yeah, I really like the under and the Steelers in this game. I was having a hard time picking which one I was going to put on my card. I'm going with the Steelers. There's a 3.5 out there, so be prepared for a 14-10 Buffalo win, because that's how my luck has been on the podcast the last few weeks. But yeah, there's a 3.5 on Bet Rivers out there. Yeah, Buffalo hasn't been good, so give me Mike Tomlin. He's really good as a home dog over the years. I forget the numbers, but he covers at a pretty high rate. Aaron Rodgers, old man, is back. And the Bills just haven't been good, especially on the road. They've never been particularly good on the road, but yeah, that's still been the case this year. Haven't looked good, just lost to Houston last week outright. Yeah, you mentioned the offensive line has been just okay this year, but now you're losing a couple guys. Deion Dawkins is definitely going to be missed. Another cold weather game, freezing temperatures, supposed to be a little windy. And that Buffalo Bills run defense is atrocious. So I think Jalen Warren, Gainwell, those guys are going to have a field day out there. James Cook will probably have a decent game too. But you're giving me 3.5 points when I think the Steelers are probably going to win this game outright. Yeah, so give me that 3.5 points all day.
Absolutely just gross. I think this one's going to be, you mentioned the weather and stuff. You mentioned Buffalo, their struggles away from home. When they cut Elijah Moore, he didn't really do anything. They just have no receivers.
Hey, Brandon Cooks to save the day.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks, baby. He's like, he's 117 years old.
Yeah, a 5'2" old man, which he's really not that old. He just seems that old for some reason. He's one of those guys that, for whatever reason, you think he's been in the league for like 15 years and he hasn't. But yeah, you sign that guy. He's like 80 pounds, and now you put him in Pittsburgh, 30-degree weather. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah. Just feels gross. I would lean toward the under on this if I had to put money on it. But honestly, I probably would look at a player prop on this one. And maybe it's the bias from me being an NC State fan, but especially a guy like Josh Allen that likes to run around, I might look at a prop for Peyton Wilson. NC State's, well, he's an NC State product, but second-year guy from NC State, the linebacker there, maybe a tackle prop for him because against a mobile quarterback like Josh Allen that can get to that second level. And Peyton Wilson is a guy, we saw it in Raleigh, we see it with Pittsburgh. He cleans things up. He'll come from the other side of the field on the backside to make a tackle. if there's anyone that could track down a streaking Josh Allen or a streaking James Cook as him. So maybe a tackle prop for Peyton Wilson. I'm going to start exploring those numbers there. But yeah, I would lean toward the over if I had to go with something on this, but I think I'm going to explore a tackle
over or under.
here.
You said
under.
You just said
over.
Okay.
Under. Sorry.
I really like the under too.
It's the Modelo. It's the Modelo Noche Especials that are making my brain all messed up this morning here.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Hey, if you can't drink Mexican Christmas beer at 10:09 in the morning in the East, then what kind of country are we living in, Scotty?
Fair enough.
All right, so that does it for the NFL slate here. Time for our underdog parlay. Of course, I shit the bed last week for us. You had UTSA, I believe, and they just absolutely
won in a blowout.
Boat race to East Carolina.
Well, I think I was the only one that hit last week.
No, the Falcons beat the Saints. It was me. Yeah, with the Colts. The Colts had the Chiefs on the hook, and they let them wiggle off and lost in overtime. I cost us that parlay there. The Colts cost us that parlay. So I already didn't like Kansas City, and I like them even less now because of that. So let's see if what we can do this week. And of course, these picks went to the ESPN bet for their last week, Scotty. Their last couple days before they go bye-bye, and they transition to the Score. That app will update to that with Penn National Gaming. So one last go around on the ESPN bet for these picks here. Start things off. We're going with Chris. He's got Clemson, the Tigers, plus 120 in Columbia, taking on the Cox.
Yeah, I guess he agrees with you on that.
Yeah, I don't hate it. It was almost my dog as well. Of course, I gave out Clemson plus the points on the road, and I like them to win outright, so don't hate that one. Clemson at plus 120. For me, in the Governor's Cup in Louisville, we got Kentucky plus 105 at Louisville. Listen, the Cardinals are just leaking oil. They're leaking parts. Everything's coming apart for this team down the stretch, and their offense is just not the same without Brown there at running back. Kentucky, 5-6, certainly a disappointing year there for Mark Stoops' boys, but they have won 3 out of their last 4. They got absolutely shellacked last time out against Vanderbilt, but it's weird saying this. A lot of people have been shellacked by Vanderbilt lately, so I kind of take that with a grain of salt. There's going to be a lot of blue in that stadium there. Listen, Louisville is a little brother in this one. There's going to be a lot of Kentucky fans there. This was at 120 yesterday. Came down to 105 this morning, but I like Big Blue Nation to get the win there, avenging their loss in basketball to the Cards about a week or two ago. So, yeah, give me Kentucky plus 105 there. It was at what was once Papa John's Cardinal Stadium there. So, all right, moving on over here for you. Jacksonville State, the Gamecocks plus 120. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Jacksonville State, not in Florida. Don't be like that one recruit last year that put up your graphic that you committed to Jacksonville State with the beautiful skyline of Jacksonville, Florida behind you. No, this is Jacksonville, Alabama. What say you about the Gamecocks?
Yeah, every time you bring that up, I believe I've said this on the podcast before. It reminds me of The Office when Kelly gets into Miami and thinks she's going to Florida, but it's Miami, Ohio. She's like giving away all her jackets.
The cradle of coaches, Miami of Ohio. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. It's getting harder and harder, especially with not as many games on this slate, to find some underdogs for me. And I didn't want to double dip with the Steelers or the Jets. So if you like them more, maybe substitute that in for this. But why not Jacksonville State at home against Western Kentucky? Both teams coming off losses, but Western Kentucky probably feels like they had a moral victory last week, losing 13-10 at LSU. So yeah, they're probably feeling good about themselves, even though they lost, and they're probably a little beat up playing LSU last week. So give me Jacksonville State at home. They're undefeated at home this year. So yeah, why not Jacksonville State?
Going with the Gamecock. So we need one Gamecock to lose in South Carolina and one Gamecock to win there in Jacksonville State.
Probably the wrong ones.
one of Rich Rodriguez's former places of employment there. Beautiful Jacksonville, Alabama. I wonder what life is like in Jacksonville, Alabama. You could probably get a house for the price of a VCR there, maybe. All right, let's put those
I don't know.
together.
They probably still have VCRs, so they might be more
That's very
expensive
true.
there.
That's very true. By the way, Jacksonville State, I just thought about this, Scotty. Jacksonville State taking on Western Kentucky. What time is that kickoff? I think that's – I try to put these in chronological
2
order.
p.m.
Okay, 2 p.m. kick there. Okay, that's good because
– who doesn't love a 2 p.m. start?
Well, that's good because everyone there is either a Bama fan or an Auburn fan anyway, but they were too dumb to get into one of those schools. It's kind of like Radford. Like you go to Radford, but like you're a Virginia Tech fan, you were just too dumb to get in there. So, yeah, if that game was the same time as the Iron Bowl, there would literally be the people working, the people playing, and the officials, and that would be it. So good for them for having the wherewithal to put this game at 2:00. It's kind of like Super Bowl Sunday. When you get the women's basketball games in the ACC, they're like at noon. Yeah, that's a good idea instead of a 6:00 tip on Super Bowl Sunday. All right, so put those together in the ESPN bet there, fire those up, and you're looking at 892, one of our lower totals this season. So
are you sure about that?
Yeah, put that in.
All right. That seems low.
I had it on my phone earlier. It was 9 something, but when that Kentucky line came down from 120, it dropped. So 892 there on ESPN Bet. If Chris, while he's paying the handling today, if he finds $100 bill or someone takes, it's a holiday season, if they're benevolent and puts $100 bill in his cup while he's paying handling, and he puts a bet in on that, what does that pay?
$892.
$892. Most money he's ever had in his entire life. So let's see, can we match that for him this afternoon? And I just realized my computer gave me a 5% warning as I thought I had it plugged up.
Yeah, mine's at 20 something. But
apparently I had my cell phone charging and not my computer because I am stupid. So, all right. Well, that'll do it for this week's show here. Make sure to join us back here Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. for the Let's Not Do This podcast. We'll get you ready for Thursday night football and talk about weird news and all that good stuff there. What is the Thursday night game next week anyways? We get an early look at that.
I don't know.
Moving on over to week 14 in the NFL. Oh, we get Cowboys-Lions December 4th on Thursday night. That actually should be a interesting matchup there. So we'll talk about that.
That's my mom's birthday, so maybe the Lions win for her birthday.
You know what? We might have to give a guest pick from her for her birthday. That'll be our gift. We don't have any sponsors, so we don't have any money. But
she has no idea. Like she's like, I try to listen to your show, but I don't understand any of that gambling stuff. So it'd be fun maybe to get a pick from her.
That would be great. Actually,
she'll probably some props, and she just picks one.
she'll probably do better than us. It's like the people. It's like the secretaries in the March Madness,
like in fantasy.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus, don't even get me started on that. But I digress. All right, well, that'll do it. Go Hoos, go Pack, go
Hokies.
Underdog parlay. May the hate flow today, Scotty, across the country. What did Clayton Bigsby say? If you got hate in your heart, let it out. Today's Saturday for it. It's Rivalry Week. Don't be afraid, Jasper. Tell your rival that you hate them and go out and do something to make their day worse. Let's make some money. I'll see you on Wednesday, along with Scotty and maybe Chris if he gets work release.
See ya.
Later.